A Sapphire Running Zone podcast.
Hi, this is Tim from the Sapphire Running Zone, and this is another in our training podcast series, Training Support. And today we are talking about running clubs, and I'm delighted to welcome Natalie from Coulsdon Runners. Now, running, as we know, can be a very lonely pastime. So Natalie's going to tell us why joining a running club is a great idea. Welcome, Natalie.
Thank you for having me, Tim.
Oh, you're welcome. And I'm intrigued to know a little bit more about the club, and you've got a slightly different approach to a lot of running clubs. Tell us a bit more.
Yes, so we do various courses at our clubs. We do a 5K course, we do a 5 to 10K course, and then we just do social runs as well as boxercise and circuits as well. Ultimately, we always run in a group setting. And there'll always be our run leader, who's Louise Owen. She'll always be at the front. We'll have some helpers in the middle of the session, and then we'll have someone always bringing up the rear. So what it means is that all the time, whatever course you're on, whatever run you're doing, you're always going to be running with somebody. And I found that helps hugely. It helped myself when I first started running back in September 21. And now, welcoming new beginners courses in all of the time, it definitely helps everybody with their running, and you ultimately don't feel alone.
Yeah, great. So talk us through your running journey then. What were you, what could you do when you first joined? How have you progressed? And how has running as a group helped you?
So ultimately, I joined Coulsdon Runners in September 2021, doing the beginners running course, which is an 8-week course. And ultimately, I joined because I just wasn't feeling great about myself, about my health, about my fitness levels at all. And ultimately, as well, just my mental health. I felt like I needed to be outside in nature, doing something that I really wanted to do. And somebody basically recommended the club for me, another lady that also ran with Coulsdon Runners. She said, "You'll be great. Come on, just join us." Honestly, I was thinking there is no way I can run anywhere. But I did start and, went from strength to strength, basically. I joined. I loved it. I did the 5K course. Then I went on to do something called an improvers course, where you're basically just running 5K runs together for like a 4 or 6 week period. I then moved up to trying to do races. So I've done many 10K races now, 10-mile races, and I actually ran the London Marathon last year. So for me, it has been a wonderful journey. It's kept me sane, I would say, after the craziness of COVID, changing jobs, life changes, things like that. And it's just been amazing. And I have to say, running is something that is, embedded in my daily life, really, now. And I absolutely love it. And I've made some amazing friends in Coulsdon Runners that I would actually say would be lifelong friends now.
Wow, that's fantastic. So tell us how you progressed from the case of the marathon. That's a fantastic achievement. Well done on that. And do you put a lot of that down to running in a group?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I could not have got through most of my runs without my running buddies, ultimately. Yes, of course, I run on my own sometimes because that's also good for you. But ultimately, a lot of those long, hard runs, so it's all mental. And to have somebody there helping you along the way, encouraging you, has been a massive plus point for me in Coulsdon Runners. And Louise, that runs the club, is a fantastic supporter. She's so encouraging. She really pushes you to get to the potential that you want to, but ultimately allows you to be you and run at the paces that you want to. And it's just been a great experience. And definitely running in a group has definitely helped me.
So when you trained for London, what percentage of your runs were solo runs and what percentage were with the club? And did you do a lot of the long runs with the club?
Yeah, I have to say the majority, well, actually every single long run that I did with somebody from the running club. It may have only been one person, but I would always run with somebody. And what you find is that when you get into these groups, somebody's always training for some type of race. So you're kind of in it together. A lot of people at the moment are training for the London Marathon. So, you join in, you help each other. You may not do the whole run together. If somebody's got, 18 miles, for instance, they might do the first 8 miles on their own, and then you join in, and then other people will join along the way, which has actually been a lifesaver, because those long runs are really, really tough. But ultimately, we always, me personally, I did all of my long runs with somebody else.
Well, that's really good, because as you said, that can be, it's obviously the most important element of any training plan, that long run, and
Yeah,
doing it with someone else can make a big difference. But it's finding that someone else, and
yeah,
presumably being part of a club gives you that opportunity to ask around who's doing what, who wants to come. I like the idea of the people joining at different points along the way, so you don't have to have someone who's necessarily doing a 16-mile long run that day. They just might do 6 miles of that 16, and then
yeah.
someone else jumps in. That's a
Yeah.
good
And
way of
we've done
doing it.
we've done that quite a few times. I'm just currently training for London Landmarks, which is a half marathon I'm doing in about a month's time. And last Monday was the 2 sessions of beginners, and they were doing their final 5K runs. One at 6 o'clock, one at 7 o'clock. So what I did, I incorporated my 1 hour 45 run, doing 2 5Ks with somebody from the club and helping them through, but ultimately it helped me too, because I incorporated that into my long run. And, there's always a way of incorporating some type of Coulsdon running session, or just meeting up with another Coulsdon runner. But yeah, it's definitely helped me hugely.
That's really good, that. Who picks the routes that you actually run on? Do you guys all play a role in that, or is that centrally managed?
Normally, Louise will be picking the runs. However, she sometimes does come out to us and go, look, what do you fancy doing tonight? Very occasionally, but normally she will pick the runs. And then in a group together, if we're running outside of, a course or a social run with the actual running club, we just meet up and go, right, how long have you got to do? Where should we go? What's a nice flat route? And then we kind of just work out together what the best routes are to do.
Right. Okay. No, that's really good. When you guys are doing, say, the 5K beginner program, you obviously get such a variety of abilities on those intro programs. How do you manage to get into a position where everybody is being supported and they don't end up running on their own?
So what Louise is really great at doing is that people that have already done the course, she's had people in the club since it opened, she's been going for 8 years now. You will find that people will always come and help. I, for instance, whenever I can go and help on a beginner's course or a improver's course, I will always be there to help people along the way, because ultimately when I was doing my beginner courses, there were lots of Coulsdon Runners helpers helping me, so I just want to give a little bit back. And everybody does the same. And what we do, there'll always be Louise at the front, leading the pack, as it were. Then there'll be a couple of people in the middle. There'll be a couple of people, bringing up the rear. And it means that ultimately you're not left alone. And then what happens is, you'll find in these courses, a lot of people don't know each other. They then become really friendly over that 8-week period, and they find their running buddy, and you find people will gravitate towards each other weekly, and then the helpers will just weave in and out of everybody, making sure everyone's okay. Me, I'm always telling a story about, the job I've done that week, or my crazy children driving me mad, just to ultimately, digress from the fact that we're running and it's probably getting difficult. But ultimately, yeah, we're just there to help each other all the time. And I have to say, it's been a blessing, and I'm really pleased now that I can help others do the same.
Yeah, that's great. It's not all about running, though, is it? You've got other courses available. Talk us through that, because obviously strength conditioning, that kind of stuff, is so important for runners, and people often don't do enough of it. But how does that weave into the running?
Yes, so Louise does a number of different classes as well. So she does boxercise classes, and then also circuit classes, which obviously is aimed at your strength. We do 2 classes a week. And again, these are like pay-as-you-go sessions. So you just come as and when you can. You can buy different courses, an unlimited course, whatever you want, or just come when you can. But ultimately running, a lot of that does mean strength, particularly in the legs, your core, all of those things. So it's great to actually do something a little bit different and not just constantly be running. Strength is a huge part of running. So thank goodness Louise is able to offer that to us as well.
Yeah, that is really important. So many people just don't do it at all, do they? And then wonder why they get injured.
Yeah.
What are the mental health benefits of running together like this?
Ultimately, I can only speak apart, on behalf of myself, but I would say that when I know that I am coming to help, or I've made a date and a time that I'm meeting someone, it instantly gets me out the door. You don't want to let anyone down. Even if you're not feeling up to it yourself, you think, right, I've got to be there because I'm helping so-and-so, or I'm running with so-and-so. And ultimately, it does have a massive effect on your mental health. It's amazing to be outside, even in the wind, even in the rain. There's something about, after completing that run, that sense of achievement. And, that's good for anybody's mental health. It's, again, massively helped me over the years. If I'm feeling a bit anxious, if I've had a bit of a long week, if things are getting on top of me, go for a run. I feel so much different about things afterwards. And I know, in speaking to a lot of the members in the club, we all pretty much feel the same.
Do you feel different after a solo run versus a group run? Or is it just the fact you're out running and mental health is being improved as a result of that?
I mean, I feel like it's two different runs. Sometimes I run by myself just because I need a bit of me time, and then other times I run with various different people, and it's just great to have funny conversations, and you speak very openly about the most random things that you would never expect. But ultimately, I do think it's different. Running in a group, and the vibes that you feel afterwards, you feel really uplifted. But I can't say I don't feel that when I run on my own, because I also feel that. It's just a different type of accomplishment. And, like I say, the funny conversations and things that you have when you're together, it is great. And ultimately, I've learned a lot from people and about their lives and about how they see things. I've got some great advice while running. It never amazes to surprise me, the different things I've learned. But yeah, I would say mentally, running on your own or with a group or just one person, it has its benefits. Depending on your mood that day, sometimes I do just need to run by myself. And other times I definitely need, what feels like an army of people behind you as well.
Just going back to the pace issue again, just for a second.
Mm.
Have you ever been in a position where you think this particular little subgroup is going too slow or too fast for me? I need to drop back a bit or move forward a bit? Or is it something that you sort of, you're just aware of every time when you deal with it? Or do you sometimes pick up your pace if you're with a group that's a little bit quicker and that's actually helped you as a runner?
Yeah, both actually. So I would say that I've been in situations where I've been running and I've thought, this is a little bit fast for me today. So I've just dropped back, and you drop back with others that are running that pace that you're comfortable with. In other times, faster runners have really pushed me, and it's been great for me because I thought, oh, actually, I can do that. But again, it all comes down to your personal goals. Also, how you're feeling on that day. Sometimes you're really in the mood for an amazing fast run and it feels great and you just want to go and you want to be, front of the pack. And then there's been other runs where I think, actually, I'm just happy to be out and I'm quite happy to be sat at the back enjoying my run with no pressure, but that's the one thing that I do love about Coulsdon Runners. There isn't pressure to be a particular pace. You run how you feel, and you run at the pace that you want to, which is great.
Definitely, because you can get stuck in a rut pace wise sometimes, can't you? You can almost just drift, and you don't realize you're drifting. You could go a little bit quicker, but you just don't. Whereas when you're able within a group environment like that to step it up a bit, you can step it up without any negative impacts. It can actually be a positive thing.
Absolutely. And yeah, I do feel like that. Louise, bless her, she has an amazing pace. If you tell her, right, I really want to try and get this PB, or actually I really want to do this particular time, she'll do that with you. If you say to her, I'm not feeling it today, but I'm here and I just want to be at the back, she'll go, perfect, do whatever you need to do. So there's just no pressure. And there's another part that, if like I said, if you don't want to go fast, you just want to chill, just want to enjoy, is absolutely fine. And there's just no pressure And ultimately, that's what you want from running. You know, there are some running groups that I see online and I see them literally, their pace is absolutely ludicrous. I just wouldn't run with those running clubs. And actually, I did have that experience where I did meet up with a group in central London when I was working there. I was there quite a lot in the evenings and I tried to run with them, but ultimately I was just too slow. And it did mean that I was just left behind. And I thought, that's just not for me. And I just didn't run with that group anymore. But that's also fine. You know, you've got to find your space, your running club. And for me, Coulsdon Runners is the best place for me to be because there's no pressure.
Yeah, some are more geared to
Yeah.
runners of a certain level, aren't they? Some are not geared to beginners at all. Some are
Yeah.
absolutely focused on beginners and wouldn't necessarily be right for people who want to go quicker.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You've got to take your time to find the right place. I think you know fairly soon, don't you? You probably picked very soon, the guys in London, that wasn't probably going to be your best place. And with these guys, you probably worked out quite quickly that this was the place for you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And don't get me wrong, there was nothing wrong with that central London club. They were all lovely, very supportive, but ultimately just too quick for me.
What about the social side? Obviously, you have a bit of a chat when you're running along, which is great. Do you stay behind afterwards? Do you go out for a drink afterwards, or do you meet up at different times?
What we do tend to do is meet up outside of running. So we'll do, like, there's a couple of girls that I started my journey with, my beginner's course. That was like 4 years ago now, and we're still friends now. We go out all the time together. We try to, do 3 or 4 times a year where we just do a whole day out together, whether it's a spa day, various different things. And they've just become lifelong friends. So yeah, definitely not always straight after running, because sometimes you just want to get back and relax. Occasionally we'll have a little drink or a coffee, after running, but ultimately it's nice to kind of get dressed up, meet up and do something completely different outside of the run club.
And do you get support when you go to events? So when you did London Marathon last year, did some of the guys come down and support you then?
I'll be honest, that was all the support I had, was my Coulsdon Runners buddies, and even the point of where they brought my children with them, and each of them would, my children, they were 11 and 14 at the time, and they picked them up, they brought them with them. One dropped the children to another mile that the others were at, and then at the end they were waiting for me, but I couldn't have done it without their support. And literally they got me through that marathon knowing that they were at particular miles and I was running to them ultimately.
Oh, that is fantastic to have that level of support from a club.
Yeah, they're honestly amazing people. But you become friends. It's not just about running, and you support each other. The girls, quite a few of them are running the London Marathon this year. I'll be there. I'm already trying to sort out my routes and my maps and what miles I'm going to be at, just to make sure that I'm giving them the support that they gave me.
You'll wish you were there running, I suspect.
Ultimately, maybe not this time. I'm just going to enjoy just watching them and giving out the sweets.
I often think that it's actually better to be running than having to do that spectating thing, because logistically it can be quite a challenge, can't it?
Yeah, absolutely. They did tell me it was a little bit of a nightmare, but I've got to return the favour, so I will be there.
So what are your goals now then, both within the club and with your events?
So ultimately with the club, I just want to continue. I want to be able to help people realise that they can run. I was very much in a position where I couldn't even run for 3 minutes, and I know what that feels like. So I like to be able to encourage people, support people on their journey for running. Now I would like, for me personally, just to improve my times. I ran the London Marathon. Unfortunately, at the end, a few weeks before, I did get quite a bad hip injury. So I don't feel I ran it to my best potential. So I actually will be definitely looking to do the London Marathon again at some point and improve on my times.
And do you guys get entries from the marathon through the club, or did you get an entry through the ballot or from a charity?
So I got the London Marathon placed through a charity. So I ran for Action for Children, but I do other charity events for them throughout the year. So I was lucky enough to get a space. I always go into the ballot, but I haven't been successful in getting the ballot place yet. But, I'll keep trying. But ultimately, I will probably run for charity again. And it really gives you that reason of doing it, and you're really doing something good. And that's why ultimately I ran that marathon when I probably shouldn't have last year, because I'd raised a lot of money and it was for such an amazing cause. And I just wanted to do it for everybody and for everybody that had supported me in the fundraising. So yes, very exciting. Can't wait to do it again.
It does give you that extra level of motivation when you're running for charity. There's no doubt about that. And at the club, do people help? I don't mean donate. I mean, do you have sort of fundraising events where people to get together and support each other?
Yeah, absolutely. The girls have done various different things. We had some like reef making, a reef making evening. We've had an afternoon tea. A couple of the girls are actually just this Friday are doing a quiz night because they're training for the London Marathon and obviously fundraising for the London Marathon. So we're all going along to that. There's lots of different things we do together to help each other fundraise. Even if it's just donating prizes for a raffle or anything like that, we all chip in and help each other.
Oh, that's brilliant. That's really good. No, that's been very interesting. A lot of people listening to this will be primarily running on their own, but this hopefully will give them some inspiration to seek out a club near them where there is that community feel, because it can, there are clubs that are not as focused on that as others, and that's fine. But there are plenty out there that do support beginners and intermediates and have lots of social activities going on, which is very important. Really appreciate your time, Natalie, and good luck with the race day logistics in London.
Lovely. Thanks so much. Thanks for having me. It's been brilliant.
Thanks for listening to this Sapphire Running Zone podcast. Keep checking back as we have lots more podcasts coming soon.